thank heaven, it's 7-Eleven, and it's Rumor and Innuendo. I'm Dominic D'Angelo of SEScoops.com, adfreeshows.com, and OneTrueSportTV.com. But I'm here today with Robert Karpelis, WE Creative _ish. Robert, we got some good stuff to cover today, my friend.
Strange things are afoot at the Circle K, but we are here today to talk all things the Dynamite. And hopefully, possibly, Ethan Page in NXT.
He's like our new Billy in the CW, Robert.
We may even talk Billy in the CW, which I think still exists.
I think it does.
I haven't heard and seen a lot with it, but you know what? You never know. Something may spring up while we're on here live, and we'll get to talk about it. I just finished recording Working Stiff with Dan St. Germain and Scott Chaplin, and while we were on the air, Shelley Duvall passed away. So we had to kind of address it. Did I just shatter your world now, Dom?
Yes, you did. Wow, really?
I didn't realize you had a close personal relationship with Shelley Duvall.
Wow, that's crazy.
We'll say hi to some of the folks that are here. Dom, you'll have to click because I have no clicking ability.
Okay. Yes, we have Mike Malaro here. Good afternoon, gents. Christopher Zento saying chin up, boys, and watch for the show.
Clever.
Wrestling Old Head said she went from single white female to misery. Wow, how about that? Yeah, Mariah Mary. Yes. Mariah May, we got to talk about that. Went from Karate Kid to the ending in Carrie. Wow. So good stuff. Dre Owens also says, welcome, Rumor Rights, best ending to Dynamite in a while. More cliffhangers, TK. Robert, just want to let you know your microphone might need replugged in or something because you're very echoey. So, but in the meantime, yes, let's I'll dive into what kind of happened at the ending of Dynamite, but then we'll just go chronologically. Actually, let's just do that.
I'm back.
Ooh, you are back. Ooh, that's very sultry.
I didn't realize that I got the Yeti gimmick in front of me. I got the headset on, and for some reason, because I'm still a guest in StreamYard, because my computer restarted, and I still can't get logged in because I need Evan to email me the code. Yeah, that's what I'm waiting on, Dom. Best producer in the business. So it keeps resetting my audio and thinking that I'm talking through the headset on my head, not the fancy Yeti microphone that makes me sound so smooth. And I think what was smooth, Dom, last night's episode of Dynamite, it may have been one of the better episodes of Dynamite that we have seen in a long, long time. And no, Tony Khan is not on the other side of the camera with a gun pointed at me.
No, good to
it's
hear.
Like an episode of Dynamite. There's no one on the other side of the camera.
Oh my gosh. Well, let's start with the opener. And I was surprised. I thought this was going to close out the show. Danielson versus Hangman Page. It could be a pay-per-view main
chronology.
Event.
You're jumping chronological order, my man.
What
Dynamite opened.
Oh yes, good point.
With to quote Chuck Dickens, the best of times and the worst of times.
Mm-hmm.
So we got Mr. Will Ospreay coming out there.
Oh my gosh, yes, dude.
So this gentleman, bruv, if I think that's the right term. Is that cultural appropriation? If I say bruv, am I okay?
Yeah,
you're clear. What do you know? You're wearing a sleeveless Jets yoked shirt. It's ridiculous.
Sam Darnold too, nonetheless.
Wow, where's your Knicks hat to really cap off your lunacy? I can't even. You got an RVD hat?
Yeah, I made it. See,
I like that it's RVD, but it looks like the logo for like a mid-90s cable company.
That was my intention. So
yes,
.com. Get your own hat.
I didn't even mean to let Dom start whoring this early in the show, and here we are. But Ospreay, so Will by God Ospreay, to quote my good close personal friend Don Callis, whom I have nothing but love and respect for, and have always said kind words about him. Ospreay has an energy to him, a pulse that just doesn't seem to exist anywhere else. And it's so much fun to see, and it's so much fun to hear, and just watch this guy do what it is that he does. His promo leading to MJF's clearly pre-taped promo, it still worked. You're seeing Max cast in the right way. You're seeing Ospreay cast in the right way. And quite frankly, Dom, I am so excited to see these guys wrestle at All In. I think that is a money match. I think that they're wrestling next week for free on television.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because we learned from the Kenny Omega MJF collision match, it is always good to give away massive dream matches for free.
Yeah, I think they learned. Maybe Tony didn't watch the death of WCW or Who Killed WCW because there was a certain match that happened that's pretty notorious about giving matches early for free. Look, yeah, I loved it. I loved Osprey. I think you put it best. Like he gives off a different pulse than anybody else in pro wrestling. From his cadence to his delivery to what he has to say. Really, really great stuff. He's got that tangibility as a baby face that is a perfect complement to how great MJF is as a heel. Now, there was a bit of disconnect for me, just that being a pre-taped promo for MJF and things like that. You'd love to see them really kind of clash immediately right off the bat with one another. So that was kind of a missing element to it all. But overall, like, man, I even said it in the Work and Stiff group chat, as he's really finding his rhythm as a great baby face and a top baby face, and not just AEW, but I would say all pro wrestling right now. So I was really impressed with his opening promo and stuff.
I think Osprey came across like a major star. MJF as this heel, it works beautifully. I would not be doing this match next week, and I understand next week is the 250th show.
Yeah,
and I made this point elsewhere, but I'm gonna make it here. You had 249 weeks to plan for your 250th show. Mm-hmm. All due respect, why on God's green earth are you doing it in Little Rock, Arkansas?
Oh, that's a great point.
There are so many major markets you could be going into. And I love Little Rock. When I was at WWE, we did a Raw from Little Rock. Fine show. It is not New York, Chicago, LA, Dallas, Atlanta, Miami, Philly. Pittsburgh. The list goes on and on. No, come on. Who are we kidding here? Seattle, where they seem to have been planting their flag quite a bit. There are so many major cities that you could have taken over the media market for your 250th show, made it a huge blitz, and then promote, as much as I hate it, like this MJF Osprey match, but like, why is that your draw for Little Rock? And one of two things is going to happen. Either we're going to get screwed out of the match in some way, shape, or form, or Tony's going to lean into his worst impulses, which he's going to give us like an 18 to 20 minute match on free television.
You know, I was shocked even when they made the announcement. I was like, next week, I want this for All In. Why are you giving this so early? Make this build up to it. You got time. You can have plenty of other opponents for both these guys to kind of go up against and continue their feud with one another just throughout that. But
fear not, Dom. Mm-hmm. Fear not, because now it looks like what we're going to wind up getting is we will get MJF versus Danny Garcia at All In, and Osprey and Pac.
No.
Well, Pac won that 4-way Golden Glory Hole match.
The Glory Hole match.
Yes, the Glory Hole is open, and Pac slid right through, and now he's getting a shot at the international title held by one of these two men.
Something's held.
Here's where we're at. But yeah, so the first match of the show, Bryan Danielson, Hangman Page. You dig this?
I did. I liked the incorporation of Jarrett into it. I liked I really enjoyed Hangman in this new role. Despite the fact that what happened with Jarrett at the first week, I think he's really finding that good heel kind of persona. I don't know how the follow-up will be when it comes to him like realigning with the Elite, as it seems, but I like the body language, the aggressiveness, the ruthlessness that he's showing in the ring. And so I think it created some fun stakes. I will say, did you think the crowd was a little flat for this match for the first good bit of it?
They were. I think, you're in Canada, so you never know entirely how that audience is going to react. Calgary, they're going to respect the wrestling. And I think part of that is they're going to sit and they're going to watch the wrestling of it. Mm-hmm. Jarrett being out there, I don't love Jarrett being involved in this situation. I get why he was there. I don't know that we necessarily needed him. And yeah, the finish, of Danielson now going up against Swerve and this leading to Hangman joining the Elite, I will compliment Tony. I will praise him tremendously. Your tournament led to storylines. That is what I have begged for these things to do. And it's like this match, we now get several different offshoots. We're going to see Danielson try to fulfill this prophecy of my last active year in wrestling. I want to win the title, despite every interview I have given that says I do not care about being champion and I don't want to be champion. Now we put on our pretend hats and it's like, guys, I was just kidding. All I've ever wanted, you blame it on the CTE and that was concussion Danielson talking. Now that my brain is less scrambled egg, I now realize I desperately want to win the AEW title. And Hangman is now angry and irate at Jarrett, and he's going to go align with the Elite. This led to a Swerve promo right after that is highlighting a problem that we talked about yesterday, Dom.
Mm-hmm.
It's babyface to main event All In.
Yeah.
So you either want one of two things to happen if you are an AEW fan. Either you want Bryan Danielson to fulfill his prophecy, win the title, and go out on top, essentially, or long game, long term, you want Swerve established as the man, the guy that you're building the company on. So you don't want to see Danielson win that title because now you have Swerve who won the title from Joe, who successfully retained it against Christian, who successfully retained it against Ospreay. And then if he can successfully, that's a very tough word to say. I feel like I'm you with WWE, to successfully retain against Danielson. Now he's a made man. As you have MJF emerging as a top heel, you've got a story to tell. But I don't think the audience is going to know exactly how they're going to respond. And it's a huge stadium of people. You really run the risk of another tepid but polite response from that crowd.
Right. And I think you also run the risk of, I think the fans are greatly going to be on the side of Danielson. And
Yes.
so I think you greatly run the risk of Swerve yet again being put in a position, is he a heel, is he a babyface? And he's been pushed back and forth so many times where it's just like, I thought, like if you told me last week he was going to be a babyface moving forward, I would 100% believe you. But now you kind of put him in between a rock and a hard place with this top star like Danielson and the fans wanting him to finally get that title and in a big stadium nonetheless. So how are you going to book this? And, I'm excited for the match. I was happy that Tony Khan actually went against the grain of what we thought we were going to get with Swerve being Hangman. I thought he was going to play into what we were typically going to see. He was going to stay consistent with Hangman and Swerve, but we're getting Danielson to him. So I'm excited about that. But in the same turn, you're also putting yourself in a tough predicament of who the fans will cheer for, which will lean more towards Danielson than Swerve. I want to get your perspective too. I think I came away with this whole episode feeling that the title doesn't mean that much still. Did you kind of get that vibe too on the episode?
Title doesn't mean that much because Swerve is like, yeah, I'm going to wrestle Danielson, but more importantly, I'm going to be part of Blood and Guts.
Yes.
And this Blood and Guts of Team AEW versus the Elite, and now the Elite and Hangman, we don't know who Team AEW is, but we can probably deduce that it's going to be some form of Swerve, the Acclaimed, Jeff Jarrett, and a fifth man. We
got Mark Briscoe. He's in it.
Oh, that's right, Mark Briscoe. I forgot about Mark Briscoe. So there you go. You got Briscoe, the Acclaimed are feuding with the Bucks, and you've got Jarrett, who's now feuding with Hangman. I get that we want to try to start popping ratings over the summer, but we're cutting our nose to spite our face. And I don't know. Oh, and then they also put, thank you, Andrew Hermes, in the comments here. And they announced Swerve versus Okada, champion versus champion next week. So, yeah, we're giving you, look, guys, I get being from a different era of, oh, man, we're getting this huge match on TV. But at the same time, if they're like, hey, guess what? Next week on SmackDown, it's Cody versus Roman.
That's basically what you're doing.
No, that's not even that. Next week on SmackDown, it's Roman versus The Rock. First ever match with two of our biggest stars of all time for free. Enjoy.
Yeah.
No. And oh, by the way, we're also going to give you, Rhodes and Orton. Like, it's crazy. I would hate, like, to be Tony Khan's accountant is the most dangerous job in all of professional wrestling. When you're looking at this and going, I don't, like, All In is coming up. Big, giant stadium. You want to give people super compelling and exciting matches. Swerve Okada, super compelling, exciting match. MJF Ospreay, super exciting, compelling match. Pac and Ospreay, a little less so. Danny Garcia and MJF, a little less so. I'm sure they'll be fine. I also don't trust the storytelling ability of Tony. He's trying to put it together. That's why I enjoyed this episode of Dynamite. Mm-hmm. Two key things happened here, Dom. Number one, they told stories. Number two, it was almost entirely AEW talent.
Yeah,
there weren't outside people. They were focused on their people. There was a cutesy acclaimed music video, which was fine. And then there was a Stampede match.
Yes. I want your perspective on this, Robert. You were kind of very cautiously optimistic because it's Samoa Joe and you can do a lot of schmoz with the street fight. Did this deliver for you, or was this kind of a missed shot by the learning tree?
This did not feel special. And I think that's the biggest surprise. Like, it's Joe and Jericho.
Yeah.
Pretty big names. And it just kind of felt like a match. Mm-hmm. They were trying. Joe was trying the best he could. It didn't really connect with me in a great way. And then in the finish, Tony loves using vehicles and spectacles, but it's not really their forte. Like, that's the one thing. Like WWE, dislike WWE, I don't care. They can do the big spot stuff really, really well. And it was difficult seeing Joe laid out and Jericho trying to raise that forklift.
Yeah.
And it was clear at his age, raising the forklift was getting difficult. And guys, if you're having some trouble raising that forklift, can we talk to you about our friends at Blue Chew? This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. If you want to be as hard as the summer day is long, then get yourself a Blue Chew and bring the summer heat. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but at a fraction of a cost and in chewable form. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. Blue Chew tablets are made in the USA and prepared and shipped direct to your door. The best part? It's all done online. That means no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. You can take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever an opportunity arises. And when you watch Jericho plow through that wall and thought, that should be me, Blue Chew wants to help you have better sex. Discover your options at BlueChew.com, and we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code RUMOR at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code RUMOR to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this episode of Rumor and Innuendo.
Yeah, thank you, Blue Chew.
Yes, they gave a new copy. This is a different new copy than the other copy. We made it. We made it work. You know what? AEW made work a little bit.
What?
That main event?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Very good stuff. Give me your thoughts, Robert.
Mariah May and Willow Nightingale in the main event for the Women's Owen tournament. I don't know that I necessarily needed the Chris Statlander interference per se. I get why you're doing it. You're trying to tell that story, but you could have very easily just had a clean finish, which they still essentially did have. And then next week it's Stokely and Chris mocking Willow, and then boom, you're off to the races. The Mariah May turn on Toni Storm was vicious.
Yes.
The amount of blood. I'm not a squeamish guy when it comes to that stuff, but even I was watching. I was like, that's a lot of blood. It's impactful, and I love that. except maybe don't have Brian bleed earlier in the same show.
Maybe not. Yeah.
I get you can have blood, but it's like using blood strategically to have maximum impact is the best idea.
Mm-hmm.
But man, they were like, we know that people are going to assume Toni Storm is the heel and Mariah May is the face. No, sirree, Bob. We're going full bore. That was great. Outside of Dr. Luther not knowing how to sell a belt shot, and also Mariah not knowing how to, because the Owen title is kind of clunky.
Yeah, it is. Yes.
So when she just tried to whip Toni the first time and it didn't work, she just went like, the hell with it. I'm just going to hit her.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to whip her with that belt. And Toni Storm, to her credit, like she's a pro, she took it.
Yeah.
Which also would have been a great Blue Chew segue, but we're not doing that here, guys. But speaking of AEW getting screwed, you see what happened with who NXT signed?
Oh, yes. Yes, they signed Stephanie McCool. What a like, and they wasted no time in that at all. There was a little video of her in CMML saying goodbye. And then, did I say 2 M's or did I say 1 M?
You said CMML. It's fine.
WWE. There was, but yeah, so she said her goodbyes. And sure enough, not long after that, Shawn Michaels welcomed her to WWE. Just right off the bat on social media, she is in the fold and just fresh off of a memorable match at Forbidden Door, and that door is now closed. So she is now in WWE. Great acquisition. The further enhances what NXT has planned, and obviously what WWE will have planned for her in the future.
Great move for WWE. Colossal disaster for AEW. And here's why. I have always been critical of them bringing in outside talents a lot because it's hard for the audience to really sink their teeth into who these people are. They put some time in video packages in establishing who Stephanie was and that she was a credible threat to Mercedes Moné.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that you've now spotlighted this woman and she immediately walks across the street to your competition when you didn't have this locked up in some way, shape, or form is baffling. The idea should be, if you see one of the CMLL or CMML, as Dom calls them, or a AAA star, or a New Japan star, or a Stardom star that you're featuring on your programming, and you go, boy, I'd love to sign that person, you better lock them down.
Yeah,
it's kind of like if like NXT of late has been using the TNA stars. It would be like Joe Hendry, who main evented NXT this week, popped up on Dynamite in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It take the simple time to make sure that you understand the lay of the land before you give somebody an opportunity. And speaking of NXT, Dom, we're here.
We're here.
It's finally happening.
We are talking about it.
Ethan Page, the NXT World Champion. So as if they haven't poked the bear enough by signing Stephanie, now you go ahead and put the world title on Ethan Page, who's sort of the poster child now for guys that were horribly squandered by AEW, who now have come across the fence.
Right. And Ethan Page even hammered that point home a little bit when he was on Talking Shop with Gallows and Anderson. He mentioned, I went from
friend of the show, Luke Gallows.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, I'd never met him before. So
he's been on he's been on Working Stiff before. I've known Gallows for years. He's a tremendous guy. Big fan of Luke. Oh, dude, he is
funny dude.
Even back when we had him, like we used him once as a fake Undertaker, and he was hilarious. Anyway, sorry. Ethan Page was on Talking Shop with Gallows and Anderson, and he said the following.
I went from somewhere that was so chaotic and unorganized to a place that, I mean, I'm still learning because I'm still so new here, but this is a machine and it's incredible. It feels good to not feel like I have to do everything myself. To have people that want to see me succeed is kind of mind-blowing. So, and yeah, I mean, obviously a huge talent that went to AEW, and lots of the expectations were big for him there because, you know, he really established himself as a top heel in TNA before Impact at that time. And then him jumping over to AEW felt like, okay, they're going to build another big star. And they didn't like they did do with several talents. But Ethan Page really is a highlight on that because now he's the NXT champion in what was completely unexpected for him to happen. And what an unexpected trajectory he took for his career. But good for him. It's great. I'm glad he's being utilized in the right way possible.
He's a guy who's shown in TNA, and part of the criticism on Ethan Page for a while was his physique. People felt that he was looking a little soft, so he wasn't taking it seriously. He definitely got himself into top tier physique. He can cut a great promo. He's incredible in the ring. And AEW had him and then just didn't do anything with it. Like, they just assume that they have these guys forever in perpetuity and they're going to sit and wait around. You know, look at like Ricky Starks.
Right.
Another dude who's just kind of like, what the hell? It's great to see how he's being used in NXT. It's great to see the foundation. They're getting back to what NXT was, where you've got Sean Spears, you've got Ethan Page, then you're elevating some of your younger guys like a Trick Williams. It's reminiscent to what they did when they brought in Owens and Zayn, when they brought in Nakamura and Bobby Roode, when they brought in the Undisputed Era, and use all those guys to elevate young talent. It's a great proof of concept. I think if Ethan Page is motivated and wants to make these guys look great, he's going to excel. And they're about to transition to the CW. So having some familiar faces along with signing Stephanie Vaquer, and Dre Owens points out Stephanie Vaquer versus Roxanne Perez versus Julia possibility. The CW on network TV draws a large Latin audience.
Mm-hmm.
That was always a thing that back in my day with SmackDown, we would talk about that. So you would have Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero, make sure they're focused heavily on there. So I think having Stephanie on the poster, the diversity that NXT has and the talent that they spotlight, and then it's just based on sheer talent. Like Obafemi, my God, that dude is insane. And then to bring back the Rascals.
Yeah. Yep.
Great use of those guys to utilize Joe Hendry, utilize the best of what TNA has to augment your show is really, really smart. It's kind of what Rob Van Dam does. He augments his show with the best producer in the business, Mr. Dominic D'Angelo. Dom, plug away.
Yes. Tonight, 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can join me and Rob live on RVD. On RVD's YouTube or on OneTrueSportTV.com. We're going to go live, take fan questions. We always do. It really directs and leads where we go with the show. And I always have topics to cover, but it's a really in great deal to what the viewers want to see and what they want to talk about. So get your questions ready and be sure to join us at 9:15 Eastern Standard Time today. But before that, you can join me on OneTrueSportTV.com and FullHorsemanNetwork.com live with Greg Gagne and Magnum TA as we record a new episode here. We've been trying to talk about Andre the Giant for weeks on end. Will we get to it? Again, we let the fans lead. So if you guys have questions, we will answer them. Be sure to join us 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. And Robert, you're fresh off a recording of Working Stiff. Did you get all your cuss words out?
I got all the cuss words out there, even some new ones. It's sitting in Dom's inbox, which means it'll be up later on today. You'll get.
Robert.
It's crossed.
You cut out. Replay.
Oh, I cut out. That was weird. I was talking. It was working. There I was. Anyway, I don't know what I said, but it's me, Dan St. Germain, Scott Chaplin. We talk all things WWE and AEW this week. It'll be up today because Dom's going to post it today because it's in his inbox right now, and he's going to knock it out of the park, and he's going to post the right audio in the right place at the right time. There's like a 30% chance you're going to get to hear this show, but there's a 100% chance that you'll get to catch us every Monday through Friday at noon Eastern on Rumor and Innuendo live on a plethora of platforms, including the WWE Creative _ish X account, the Dominic D'Angelo X account, the SE Scoops X account, the Rumor and Innuendo X account, the Working Stiff X account, and on YouTube, the Rumor and Innuendo channel, the Ad-Free Shows channel. To hell with you, Jeff Jarrett, your terrible refereeing skills. And if you missed one of our shows, or you just want to catch us in audio format, we are available wherever you listen to podcasts. We are everywhere you want to be. And the only place that I want to be is here on my side of the screen. So I'm next to Dom in his Jets jersey. So on behalf of the barely clothed Dominic D'Angelo, I'm Robert Karpelis. Best of luck in your future endeavors.
Watch for the shoe, guys. Watch